Hi, Sandy here. I'm going to show you my scrapbooks that I have made in the last 16 years. There's about 80 of them here. I've been scrapbooking for 16 years. I just recently filled in these top two shelves there because I had my Mickey Mouse collection on those two shelves. I had to move them to the top because my collection just keeps growing. I have them kind of color-coded, I'll show you that, and organized. Right here, we have our portraits taken every year, so I have 3 portrait books. I have these blue books. That's our family, myself, my husband, and group pictures with my daughter. I have this is my wedding book, my honeymoon book, and when my daughter was born I got 2 of these books, gifts, Lacey books as gifts. These are my first 2 baby books for my daughter. She's 16 now, and I just continue scrapbooking her life, and I've color-coded all of her books pink. Filled an entire shelf, and it continues down here, and we're up to book number 18 of her life. And we'll just keep going, and even after she gets married and has children, I'll just continue her life in those books. And then I've got pets. I've got my house remodeling and former homes we've lived in. I've got vacations and adventures. Before digital cameras, you take 1 or 2 rolls of film on vacation and have not a lot of photos. So you didn't have a lot to scrapbook, so those are from previous years ago. These are vacation books, Disney World. Went to Branson. This is my largest scrapbook ever, 180 pages. We went crazy taking pictures. We go to the pumpkin patch. We went to the pumpkin patch for like 5 years in a row. They're in that book. My husband and daughter like bowling, so I have a bowling book. And down here on the bottom shelf, they're not really scrapbooks. Ever since preschool, my daughter just started 11th grade, I collect all of her papers and just punch them with a punch and put them in the scrapbook, in these books. And then when she graduates, I'm just gonna thin it down to 1 or 2 books and get rid of all of that. And then up here, my husband and I have been married 18 years, and the daughter is from my second marriage. My first husband, I was married to him 18 years as well, and he died of cancer when he was 38. And this is my life with him, and that's his family there, and our vacations. And then I got 2 books of friends. I got a book of old friends from way back and friends that we have now. And then I make informative books of places we've worked. I worked at a drugstore, a motel. I worked at a plastics company, and at where we make shelves. And my co-workers, photos of them, things like that. And then these yellow books are my parents and my siblings and their children. And then I was doing genealogy for a while, and all of these brown books are my family history. And Edna is my mom's sister, and when she passed away she had no children, and she left me all of her photos and some family history and things like that. And some of the photos that she left me, I don't even know who the people are, but just out of respect I kept them and put them in her book. And then there's more family history. It's both my side of the family and my husband's side of the family. And then this is my husband's side of the family. And we get together for every holiday, every birthday. We take a lot of photos. We're all on Facebook. We share a lot of photos. I download them and print them and have a section on every family member. And then there's 2 books, this one and this one, that are family group pictures of our get-togethers. So that's all of my scrapbooks, and I'm going to show you in detail about some of them. My daughter's going to be filming here, so here we go. This is my first book of family portraits, and I've added the years to put a tab and add the years. Here's our first family portrait with our daughter when she was born. And then the extra prints, I scrapbook it. I scrapbook the photo, and then the extra prints I put in the pocket, so if anybody wants any, they can have them. So I've done 3 books of that. We get her picture taken, well, the first year we got to take it every few months, and cut it back to less and less, and then she was like 5, and now we have our family portrait done once a year, and prints of her individually. So 3 books of family portraits. Then I have this book of myself when I was a child, and my husband when I was a child, and then in the back is when we were first married, up until the point when we had children. We were married 10 months, and then we had our children, became a family. So that's that. And then I just continue in chronological order, starting from the beginning of our marriage, and keep going and going, and put our family pictures in there, my husband and myself and my daughter. And then I've got, here's my wedding album. This book came with the pockets for photos, and I made scrapbook pages. And I only do 8.5 by 11 pages. I never do 12 by 12. That's how I started out. And I continue with that because I have continuing sections, and I just want to keep them looking smoothly and keep going. And here's our Disney World vacation. With our honeymoon, we went to Disney World. Here's my daughter. Book 1. Started out with pregnancy and decorating her room, getting ready for the baby shower. And then there she is, her arrival. I even saved the hospital bill, $1,795, but that's part of the bill. Nowadays it costs a lot more than that, and it'll keep going up, but it's interesting to look back and see the prices. So we've continued her life, and we're up to book number 18, and scrapbooking her life. Then I have 2 books of pets that I've had. I'm 58 years old. I've had pets for the last 40 years, and I keep them till they die. And so these are pets that I've had even into my first marriage and in my second marriage, and each one has their own section for their life story, and I tell a little story about where they came from, and how they lived and how they died. So I got this pet book, and then it got full, so I started a second pet book. Those are pets that we no longer have. Then I have this pet book. I have 3 dogs and a cat. And the group photos I put here in the front of the dogs together because it doesn't belong in any specific dog section. And then I have Charlie. He's got his life story section there. And then I have Samantha, and she has her life story section. And I have Rosie. She's less than 2 years old, so we've started her life story section. And then we had Butterscotch, our cat, in here, but see, the book is getting so fat. The book is getting so fat that I took his section out because he had the fattest section. We like taking pictures of Butterscotch. And I started a book of him. And I make covers for these. These are office binders for 8.5 and 11 sheets. And I make these covers and just slide them into the pocket. Get back in there. And then I make the same thing on the binder for label. So, and then here's Butterscotch. So he's got his whole life story here. And we had Max, who lived from 2007, and he died in 2015, 2 years ago, of cancer. He's a golden retriever. And when I first started taking pictures of him, I had a really bad camera and they were all fuzzy. But it's all I had, so I scrapbooked the pictures anyway. Because that's his little life. And so I scrapbooked his whole life. Up until his death, he got cancer. There's his last day. We took him to the park. Good old Max. And then, previous homes. My husband had a house when I met him, and I sold my house and moved in with him. Before that, I have my first apartment when I was 18. My first husband and I bought a little house. We remodeled all these homes, and we bought a second home and a third home. And then I moved in with my husband for a few years into his home. And then we bought our current home, and we've remodeled it. And I've got all the photos of remodeling and before and after. And each room I've got a tab for the section. And I make a lot of tabs for my books. So this is the kitchen. I made a little tab. This is masking tape. I just put it on there. I wrote kitchen. And then as I update and stuff, then whatever room it is, it goes in that section. And then if the book gets really fat, I'll just expand it to a bigger book. And this is the only book that I did not use a binder on. Our Mickey Mouse Vacation. We took my daughter when she was 8. So that's my Disney World Vacation book. This is my biggest book I've ever made. That's Branson, Missouri. And each place we went, I tried to use a different color to kind of sort it. And I put tabs in for all the different places we went and things we did. Then Valis Pumpkin Patch. I put the year on these tabs. We went from 2008 until 2014. But I put all the Valis Pumpkin Patch pages in there. Bowling. Our friends that we bowl with, I put in this book. And, well, old bowling sheets for the year. Photos. It's just all this bowling stuff that my husband has collected. He goes to bowling tournaments. So that's the bowling stuff. And then up here, this is my first husband and I. And our life together, our 18 years. We didn't take a lot of pictures back then. Back with the old-fashioned camera. We didn't have a fancy wedding, but got a few wedding pictures in there. And then we got 3 books of vacations. I need to put this down. And I got tabs of the places we went on the side. And I like to save ticket stubs and brochures, put those in there. Just get the stuff in there. I don't get really fancy, but I get it in there, and I label what it is, and just make it nice. And this is interesting. I worked at a drugstore for 18 years, and I've saved photos of my coworkers and things I found on the internet. I wrote a story about how my time working there, old pictures of the store, newspaper articles. It's a good little history of the store. And when I get new pictures, I found these on the internet, I just put them in an empty pocket, and then I'll make a page for them later. I try to keep caught up. And then my friends, my former co-workers, I made a tab for each of them in alphabetical order. And I have photos of my friends. So this is a pretty good little interesting history of my job and the drugstore, because the drugstore's been sold and changed a lot now. Where did I get? Oh, right there. Okay, now this is my family, my parents, and my siblings. I'm one of 8 children, and there's 8 or 9 grandchildren, but yet my current husband's family, there's only 3 children and 3 grandchildren, 4 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. But we take a lot more pictures. But anyway, I'm going to show you this. I use these tabs, and everything is all organized. This is family group pictures of my family. I don't have a lot of those. And then this is my parents. They have the big tabs because they're the head of the family. And then these tabs across this row are my siblings and their spouses. And for me, I just have a small section because I have my own life story up there. Okay, so then here's my oldest sister and her husband, and she has 1 daughter and her daughter's husband. So her children stay with her, but staggering down the line. And then my brother, he has 2 daughters, and one of them has 2 children, so that's his grandchildren. So I stagger them by generation. So that's how I do that, and it's very simple to find. It's like a life story from baby photos to obituaries. And then I've got my genealogy, and this is interesting. And as the book grows, I just split it up into more books. That's my great-grandfather right there. And I don't use filing cabinets. I keep obituaries in here, marriage license, anything that I can find. I keep it all in that person's section. That's my grandmother's section right there. Grandmother and grandfather. And then I got my great-grandparents. My grandmother's parents had 12 children, so my grandmother was one of 12 children. And then my research has found some grandchildren and great-grandchildren, great-great, and so I stagger them down to generations. And then if I'm looking through this, now wait a minute, how's this person related to me? So then I go up to say this person right here. How's this person related to me? So I go here to the next tab up. Okay, that's their father. And then the next tab up, that's their grandfather. And then that's one of the 12 children. So, okay, now that's how they're related to me. So this works so well for me. It's very organized. And I think that's about everything I wanted to show you. So I have all my photos very organized. I can find almost anything in less than a minute. So that's that. Hope you enjoyed my video. Hope you got some ideas. Goodbye. Subscribe to my channel.